Welcome back to the Movement Boss Podcast. I am Joe Aguiar along with Karin, Ravalese, the Movement Boss. Happy 2026.
Same to you, Joe. What's going on?
Oh, I'm very excited for 2026. And I want to start off with a little bit of advice for people. Because, you know, when the year changes, people tend to resolve, if you will, to do some things in 2026 or whatever the year might be. And with the advent of social media, one of the things we love to do is we like to go on there and pontificate and tell everybody what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a terrible idea. I think whatever there should be things you want to work on. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be on January 1st. But if you want to work on things, I think the last thing you should do is announce it on social media. My thought is just do the thing. Let's take an easy one. Say, I want to lose 20 pounds this year. Rather than tell the world that you're trying to lose weight, and then every time they see you stuffing your face at a fair on Facebook, people are like, look at this fat loser. You're never going to get there. If you just decide on your own that you're going to do it, and by the middle of the year, say July, you're at the beach looking pretty good. People are like, damn, hey, look at you. That's the reward with no risk. I think so often, Karin, people set themselves up for failure and disappointment, and they kind of bring it on themselves. And I'm saying, don't. I think an accountability partner is cool. Mm-hmm. Right? Somebody who's going to help you stay in check. But as far as the world, don't do it.
Yeah. Or I think sometimes what it is too is you got to get like so sick of yourself with things that you're just going to do it. So I think sometimes it gets to that point, you know, at least like I can say that for myself when I've said like, you know what, that's it. I'm done and I'm just going to do it. Or like if you put too much stipulation on yourself, it's almost like your body looks for ways for you like to just do the opposite of what you're trying to do. That's another thing too, right? I don't know if that's ever happened to you. Like if you say, oh, I'm not going to eat a cake anymore. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're like looking for it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, just don't, like you said, just don't say anything. Just
that's so interesting you say that.
Business.
I do this little exercise with my family and friends, but you want to play a little game here for a second? Don't think of an elephant.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. The human brain cannot process negative. It can't do negative. It can only do positive. When you're skiing and you're going and you're ripping through a trail and you're like, don't hit the trees, don't hit the trees, don't hit the trees. What am I focused on?
You're focused on the trees.
I'm focused on the trees, and you were going to hit one. What you need to tell your brain is stay on the trail, stay on the trail, stay on the trail, and your brain will focus on the openings on the trail. That's how the brain works. So set yourself up with positive messaging and not negative messaging, because again, your brain really can't comprehend not doing something. Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting, but you're right about that though. So it's like, just do it.
I love that. Now you were telling me you want to be more focused in 2026 on what we're actually talking about, the subject matter, the movement and the breathing and all that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess we just accidentally announced it to the world, but
that's okay, but that's good.
But it is good because we are your accountability partners. That's why we're all here. What is it you're looking to achieve here in 2026? I mean, obviously you have some goals and we want to help you with them. So what does 2026 look like for the Movement Boss?
Well, definitely, you know, it's kind of like focusing a little bit more on stuff. I would want to get into more teaching. You know, I was talking to you about the Immaculate Dissection coursework. You know, we've got some courses coming up. We have, one that's coming up in March that I won't be teaching, but it's in India. They're looking to do it in India. And in June, there's going to be one in Phoenix. And then in November, me and Dr. Monica are going to looking to teach the core concepts one. So I really enjoy doing that with the I love the material. I think it's great. It's stuff that I use with people that I work with. It's very effective. So I'm excited about doing that, and having some, working with some clients, and then just kind of, having the research aspect of things too. So just really kind of focusing in on that, and rather than just, maybe being in different things all the time.
No, I get that. Trying to get a little more focused, from a business standpoint. The classes, what exactly is the? Say that again.
The Immaculate Dissection.
Yeah, Immaculate Dissection.
Immaculate
I get
Dissection.
that. I love it.
No, it's cool. It's really cool. Yeah. So basically, how that originally was in the beginning is they used to have paint. So they would paint on a person, and they would show what things looked like when the muscle was contracting, and when when it was shortening, and when it was lengthening, when it was, going on stretch. So the person can actually see that from a functional perspective, rather than, just kind of talk about anatomy, like its origin and insertion and stuff like that. Hey, this is the internal abdominal oblique, it does flexion, side bend you, and it rotates you to the same side, just saying that, like, but to see it like functionally, and how it applies to like human movement, how it applies to sports, because you and I talked a lot about this muscle in our past episodes. We really applied it to golfers, we applied it to the baseball players. So the coursework really gets into that. They're not doing the painting anymore on the body, but you still have like the artwork in the actual manual, and then there is some things that we do have, and we go through the coursework. We have there's a standard operating process that we have that we follow. We discuss the anatomy. There's the corrective strategy that goes with it. So it's just I 100% like are behind it. I mean, I see how effective it was for me. And so like I'd love to be able to be part of, teaching it, and, just being even more involved in it. So
you have such a great passion for it.
Love
And
it.
I feel like, when it comes to teachers, and I don't mean to brag, I was earlier today drinking coffee out of a cup that my students at broadcasting school got me. It's world's okayest teacher. It's quite an honor. But I mean, to have passion for something, makes it easier. I'm not like trying to toot my horn, but like the students really love me because I bring a fun energy to teaching what I do, because I love what I do. And that just bleeds over into the teaching. And I think when, here's the thing. You can't teach people to be passionate about things.
No, you can't.
I think you can become passionate about something. Sometimes, there's not an immediate spark when it comes to something, but that's not to say that if you don't spend time and energy on something, that eventually you can't grow into loving it. I think sometimes, people don't, it's like, oh, I didn't really love that at first. Well, no, that's okay. That happens. You can definitely grow into it. But again, you have such an amazing passion that I would imagine people learning from you would, get so much out of it, because you bring the joy. You're such your words, a nerd about this stuff. The way I'm a nerd about this and about wiffle ball for some reason. There's just a certain passion that comes out with that stuff. And I really think it is to the benefit of people learning.
I think so too. And, also appreciating the fact that this is not easy material. And, I really want to make sure that, I keep always honing my skills. Like I'm not going to I'm going to always be in it. You have to be, right? So, because you have to be able, you want to be able to explain it to the person. You want to be able to have them get that. And also doing it in a decent way. I'm sure you can relate. I don't know, but like how many times, like if you've had something that you maybe don't understand and you're dealing with somebody that does get it, but maybe they just can't understand why you can't get it. So they're like rude or maybe condescending and things like that. So I don't like that personally. So I make sure that, I'm try, not that I have to try because I don't, but I don't want to be like that to someone. So I want to make sure that I can help you understand that. And I feel like you have to understand it yourself. And you also have to kind of like even be relatable to what that even feels like, so I don't know.
One of my other favorite things on this podcast is we have spent a lot of time talking about Giancarlo Stanton of the New York Yankees. And you were telling me something before the show, and we're going to get into that. But first, I want to tell everybody how into me and my wiffle ball I am. Karin started talking about grip and hitting and people who pull the ball and muscle flex and people with a weaker grip. And as she was saying that, I was like, oh, this is me, hit to the opposite field. I'm an opposite field hitter. And it's funny, it'll all tie in, but I immediately was thinking of myself. And she was like, because I want to talk about Giancarlo Stanton. And I was like, yes, Giancarlo Stanton. Of course, that's what we're talking about. A Major League Baseball hitter, not me. It applied, but still.
Well, because I was asking you some questions about it. Yeah, I was asking you questions.
That was so funny. I was like, oh, I think she's asking about me. And we were talking about Giancarlo Stanton. That's how much I think of my hitting skills.
Well, no, because we started with the golf. We started talking about the golf swing. We were talking about the slice, and then we were talking about the hook. So I kind of wanted to understand a little bit more about what that was. So I was looking into it, doing some research about it. And I was reading to you about it and asking you, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. Right. So, but I was thinking as I was doing this, I'm like, oh, I wonder how this applies to baseball. It has to be very similar to it to some extent. So, going through that, and I really wanted to like text you when I was doing that too, because I was like, hey Joe, is this sound familiar to you? But I figured I'd get you when I did. So there's like the similarities in the way that hand position is. So it's comparable to maybe the way someone is hitting when they're doing their baseball. So or in this case, wiffle ball with you, because we talked about Dan, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, Dan's a, what you say, pull hitter or whatever, hitter. So I'm like, does he happen to hook the ball in golf? And you're like, he does it all the time.
Big Dan Murgic was on an episode of this podcast. He was having some neck issues and some grip issues. But yeah, we were talking about Dan's a big fella, 6'3", used to be really good at baseball. He's a decent wiffle ball player, I think. But he's a dead pull hitter. He looks like Reggie Jackson taking his big swing, puts everything into it. And he either pulls balls down the line, foul, or he hits the ball, and everything is to left field. Everything is to left field. And when he and I golf, he hooks everything. And if those of you don't understand golf, hooking is when it goes to the left. Basically a pull hitter.
For a right-handed golfer.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're talking about a righty here, so obviously it'd be the opposite.
Now, me, on the other hand, I'm an opposite field hitter. I wait back on pitches, weaker grip in that I'm trying to slap the ball the other way.
And another thing, too, didn't you say you're more of a slicer when you,
So, I was just about to get to that.
Sorry,
I know, it's fine. It's fine. I was getting right into that. It's funny. She and I were talking just before the show, and we were doing the hand grips. And as we were doing the baseball opposite field swing grip, I thought, again, in golf mode, I'm doing this. When I slice, my hands are doing the same thing, but now they're dipping as opposed to when I'm doing that to hit the ball the other way. I'm telling you right now, Karin, you blow my mind all the time with the stuff that you say, because it's like, oh my God, I do that. That's what I do. I mean, again, right, to be able to literally relate it to what we're doing all season long, like, yes. And again, I'm so glad I get to golf with that guy. It's interesting to see the difference in our problem in swing is similar to what we're going through
Yes.
in wiffle ball.
And I thought about, like, again, Joe, like, that I'm not like the authority on golf or baseball at all.
Mhm.
But, this terminology that you're using, like, I was thinking about even Peter when he was on here. He kept saying, remember how when we were before he was doing some of the activities that I had given him to do, because remember his back and his obliques and all of that, he said he wasn't really playing golf that much. And he said that when he was playing, he was duck hooking it and slicing it. Remember when I was like, oh, what does that like really even mean? You know what I mean? So that's when I wanted to even do an even deeper dive about it and look at it also with wiffle ball, because you guys all play golf. You guys are like all golfers.
Yeah.
And, and a lot of times, they do put a lot of attention on the way someone's hand position is on, and it's like, but the problem's probably not your grip is so much, like, per se, obviously we do a little grip test and stuff, but it's not coming from the hand per se. Like, it's either coming from the neck or, the shoulder, like things like that, and not to go off on tangents here, but like when I talked even about the martial arts and, just cueing different things like, oh, snap your wrist or move your foot this way or something. And it's like, well, what if the foot and the wrist is not driving the problem? And the problem is coming from the core, right? Like maybe you've lost the intrinsic support first and it's kind of leaking into these other areas, or you lateralized to like one side, but it's coming from a higher joint. Like it's coming from not even the shoulder. Like, for example, like since we are talking about this stuff, but like the other joints that have to be kind of like, on point first before the shoulder joint, which is the most mobile joint in the body, to be able to transfer the force, properly. So, like that stuff needs to be taken into account. The collarbone, what's the shoulder blade doing? What's the collarbone doing? What's the, the rib area doing? Like all of that stuff. And then not just kind of like, oh, maybe not so much worrying so much about, hey, what my grip's doing. Like, but if you kind of coordinate everything together, the abdomen and the shoulder in this aspect, maybe you won't be so worried about slicing and hooking or you'll keep your hand in a more neutral position, because in reading up on that, someone who has the slicer, or like yourself, right?
Yeah.
They're more holding their grip like this. They're losing it more. It's more extended. It's too extended. Where the other one, they call like more like of a stronger grip, right? The closed grip would be someone who's like what do they call, pull hitter in baseball? Is that what it's called? Pull hitter.
Yep.
And then somebody who is more prone to doing a hook is somebody who's more like in a flexed position, more of in a bowing position. You're not keeping the neutral. So it's always implying to what you're doing, whether you have something in your hand or not. So if you were to maybe remove that implement, the bat or the club, what would you be like if I just maybe had you just do a simple, like, how do you position yourself when you go to get up off the ground? Like, I could just watch you do that and see what you do with your hand. It's going to be the same thing you're going to do when you hold your club.
Oh, no kidding.
So it's just like, I know this is crazy, but it's interesting to think about. And I would like to have these types of conversations with, these other teammates of yours and stuff too, because like, hey, maybe we can make things better for you. Maybe we can make the game a little bit more comfortable, and you don't feel like the next day you got to recover the whole week, and be like, oh my God, am I going to be able to play Saturday or not Saturday? Am I going to be able to play Sunday? Or, oh, I can't play golf this week because my back hurts or my shoulder hurts or something, like what if you can manage that? Now, you don't want to manage it, but what if you have strategies in place to get in front of that before that stuff starts acting up? So that's kind of like where I leave my focus.
It's funny, when I first met you, and that was right. One of the things I was telling you is, I'm at an age where I just turned 50 and, goodness gracious, Sunday we play. I wake up Monday, not as bad, oddly enough, as Tuesday. Tuesday is when it really tends to hit. You wake up and you're feeling like garbage, body's all beat up. Thursday, Friday, and then by Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, you're like, oh, starting to feel a little bit better. And then it's Sunday's the next day, and you're right back at it. And whether it be golf, whether it be the wiffle ball, I implore or employ your strategies now in all of these things. And,
Good. Happy
I
to hear
mean
that.
I mean this genuinely. It has made such a difference. And when you're there, you're able to literally at times. I mean, I remember last year, shortly after we fixed my shoulder, in the next game, I don't know if you remember, maybe the second inning, I made a diving catch. And then I came up to bat shortly thereafter, and my shoulder felt messed up again. She was there. We went through some of the exercises, and I was right back on it. My next at bat, I don't know if you remember, ripped a shot down the right field line. Clean single. Beautiful hit.
And if you remember, since I had been working with you a few times, because we've done like a few things, which is good. And I was able to like integrate with an actual like subsystem thing, to go back to talking about the different IDs and stuff. We talk a lot about the get up, it favors the neurodevelopmental position of the child and things like that. So I had given you a thing that just kind of like put all that together. Would you remember that when I had you with the, the elbow thing and all that, the shoulders, like trying to coordinate that. So like you got to the point where, since you and I had done so many things, like I was able to really introduce you to more, not like more things, but like coming up a level of the stabilization type of thing. So that's what it's about. You're moving into different things, and you're kind of putting yourself together as a whole system. You're not really piecemealing yourself like, okay, well, my shoulder hurts, so I'm just gonna do this or whatever. Now you're integrating it in as a system, but before you do that, you're targeting what you need to target. Like for Dan was totally different than you.
Right.
And, I mean, you both had shoulder problems, both had shoulder pain, you both had grip loss, but you had grip loss in different positions. And what was kind of throwing you off was different than what was throwing Dan off. So like, I couldn't give you the same thing I gave Dan.
Yeah.
But both of you benefited from what was individual to you. So I love that. That's what I love about these corrective strategies, because they're effective, because there's person specific. So you're not just like, randomly doing things.
Hey, well, it's funny too that you even say that, because, you were asking me about literal grip issues. And I think you specifically asked me maybe about unscrewing jars in association with the grip loss. And I said, no, I'm not having that problem. But my buddy Dan is, to the point where, and I love to tell this because Dan's like an old school kind of guy, and I'm a bat flipper. If I get a nice hit, I'll flip the bat. Home runs, it's going to be a twirl and a dance. Dan doesn't do that because he's old school. And in the course of 2 weeks, he let the bat slip on a swing 3 different times. And he had said to me, and this probably wasn't for me to share with anybody, but he told me he'd been struggling opening up mayonnaise jars, and that he had to have his wife literally do it for him. And he thought it was his neck was was bothered, whatever the case may be.
His hands. He kept saying,
right, yeah, the hands
or whatever, something like that, which most people think that.
And so when she asked me that, I go, but you got to talk to my buddy Dan. And my God, and again, it's almost like unbelievable, like a Hollywood script. She comes and works on Dan, shows him, stretches him out, does him up. They talk about all his problems. Dan is a pitcher, and he used to be a really good pitcher. And over the last few years, he's more of a finesse guy now. He's got to really work the pitches because he doesn't throw as hard. That day, he literally said after the game, that is the best I've thrown in 5 years. And I would contend, we've been playing wiffle ball for 8 years now, that was the best I'd ever seen him pitch. Literally was from your treatment to him pitching, and it was unbelievable.
Now, the thing about this is these are things that not everybody is like this, okay? Not everybody's going to maybe have this kind of quickness, like you did and he did or whatever. But generally what does typically happen is somebody does have somewhat relief. So luckily for you guys, in your case, it was, just not, maybe coordinating it properly, just way too much tightness just generating in an area and things like that. So just being able to do those activities, that I was able to give you, that was, sufficient. But that's not always the case either, so I don't want to make it seem like, this is, but this is actually really the type of stuff that I enjoy doing, because their motivation there is high for someone to want to do it, because they don't like feeling like crap, right, the next day. And it's a little bit of a performance thing with you guys too. Like you guys are like kind of like indirectly competing, with each other, but competing
that
with their, with yourself, and you're just like mad, oh, I'm so mad, why do this have to happen to me, and blah blah blah. So yeah, I mean, I totally can relate to that myself too, because I want answers. I would want answers as to why this is, why does this keep happening to me? And it's not always because you're old. Like, yeah, sure, we're getting older, yeah, absolutely, but is it really always just about that?
I think a lot of people assume that, and also assume that they need to just sort of deal with the pain, deal with the discomfort, work around it, work through it, or whatever the case. There's a shout out to the Meriden Plastic Baseball League, and I'm going to put this on the social media, and I hope all of you guys listen to this. We've been talking a whole bunch about wiffle ball, and for those of you who played this past season, you'll recognize Karin Ravalese here to my right. She spent a lot of time. She worked with quite a few different players. Karin is obviously been working with Dan and I a lot, but you wanted to make an offer to these guys because I tell you, so many of these fellas show up every week. That week that Matt showed up and he couldn't stand up because he'd gone golfing earlier in the day. I to this day, I don't know how that guy played that day. And Matt hit a home run, which was mind-blowing because it seemed like he was just going to be on the ground the entire time, and you fixed that guy. And again, I don't want to make you sound like you're Jesus Christ making miracles, but like that one was, I was like, that he's not playing this week. Look at him. He looked like the hunchback. His back was like, and then like, oh, it was disgusting.
You're so bad.
I love Matt. Matt just got married. Congratulations, by the way, buddy. Yeah.
Congratulations. Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. I mean, just a couple small things. I mean, he'll tell you himself. I was just kind of looking for where he kind of felt tight and where he was restricted and kind of where he was feeling stuff from, and just give him a couple quick things off of that. And it seemed to kind of like help him. I mean,
I would say
nice. I was happy about that.
Do yourself a favor, book a session with her. There's a discount for wiffle ball players right now. And you are going to get some video as well that will show you some exercises so that you can have a strategy when you wake up Sunday morning and your body feels like garbage. Your shoulder hurts and your back's killing you and your sciatic is acting up. You're going to want this.
What I'll tell you, what I'd like to try to get to a point to is, if people obviously they're interested in doing that, is just having like, to start like one session by themselves and just kind of like see where they're at, like the starting point right there, kind of go through my standard process that I would do. And then based off of that, they would get exercises. They would, I want to make sure that they understand that. They're going to do it. I'm going to show them. They're going to do the activity. And then once they have a pretty decent handle on it, then I'm going to film them. So they're going to actually have the videos for themselves. And this is like your homework. You're going to do it for your homework. and then give you some write-up on it with some notes, what we've talked about in the session. And then just kind of like what you and I did together, even just get to the point, like if I'm even out there on the field and like something kind of like happens when you're there, like you can just do a couple quick things and just to see, just to kind of take the tension off or the tightness off or something, provided it's not like injury things or something, but like with you, just a couple quick.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, again, right. I mentioned earlier, I
like
dove,
fly stuff,
made an unbelievable catch into a somersault roll. And as soon as I got up, I was like, oh, I should not have done that, because the pain that was in my shoulder was suddenly back. And again, thank God you were there, because we worked that thing out really quick and I felt better. And, anytime I found it bothering me or, if I didn't feel quite right, I would just run through, opposite side, stretch and all, I mean, I got it and I was able to do it. And I think at times people looked at me like I was out of my mind. But again,
sometimes that happens when sometimes if I've talked to people about stuff too, you can tell they're like, working at it. But it just, hey, you
works.
Gotta be open to it, or if it's something that you're interested, whatever. It's not. I'm just kind of throwing it out there because I think it would be really cool and and fun to kind of work with people that are serious like that. They actually want to maybe try to get a little bit of an edge in or something, like just plus you're even if you don't have a problem, you could
sure. I mean, get on it before you start having problems.
Realize it, because I'll tell you, like I've talked to people like about breathing, like I might mention to somebody if they're telling me like they have this ongoing thing that always happens, or they've done this or they've done that, and I'm like just out of curiosity, has anyone ever kind of just talked to you about your breathing? Has anyone ever mentioned anything about that? Like, are you aware of it or stuff? They're like, no, actually, no, not at all. And the people don't recognize that they're tight there, or they may be restricted there, or the breathing is very like up. It's coming more chest than, from the sides. So once we have these conversations and we start talking about it and because it is like an education, like almost like a physical education type of a thing. And, so your body, like you're creating the awareness with it. And you're like, oh, wow. Like, hey, this has been brought to my attention. This is what we found. This is the exercise that I got out of it. Oh, I get it now. And like, now I know that if I feel like I'm going to start generating some tightness, like I'm going to do these exercises before I go and play and swing. So I don't like maybe potentially give myself a hernia or something. You know what I mean? Cause it's like this stuff will, trickle up and down, like cause it can go into the hip. It can go into like how many of these baseball players that we talked about that had hip stuff, groin injuries, right? Things like that. So if you're losing like, support from your abdomen, like you're killing that force transfer into your hip and obviously into the upper extremity. So, I mean, why would you not want to optimize that? Why wouldn't you want to at least have yourself on point before you started, running, picking up a bat? Like how many people like will say, oh, I pulled a hamstring or something, like, oh, I'm just going to go stretch my hamstring. Well, maybe your hamstring's already on stretch and now you're stretching it even more.
Right. You don't even know. You don't even know what that is. Most people don't even understand what you just said.
Well, here's the thing. When I say stretch, I mean like it's already in the like that stretched position, because we talk about shortening and a lengthening position. So when you contract the muscle, it would be shortening. When you relax it or you stretch it, so to speak, that's when you're like lengthening it. So you're it's the opposite. So, let's take the hamstring and the sciatica thing, for example, right? You're stretching, right? You go and you might do something like the, whatever, like, and then you're like, oh, that's aggravated. Well, that's really stretching you're stretching it in the stretch.
You're stretching it in stretch.
Maybe stretched.
Yeah,
right?
That didn't need to be stretched. It needed the opposite of that, right? And again, I feel like people don't even
and you feel it. Well, you wouldn't. I didn't know either. I mean,
Well,
you
I
just,
think too. There's times where people are like stretching in a way, and they're like, "Man, this is weird," but like it feels good, and it's like probably that's the case, right? It's in the stretch position, and
you think about it. Let's just
yeah,
hypothetically say you're tight, right, in your rib cage, right,
hmm
and you might go like this, and then you might go like that. So yeah, you're actually, because I even almost feel like your body instinctively kind of knows what to do.
yeah,
That's actually better to do than it would be to just stretch like that, because you want to be able to let it kind of move a little bit and not get stuck in one position over the other. Like, I don't think, being in one position over the other isn't good. You want to be able to do both. You don't want to be stuck. That's I mean, especially when you're doing stuff like that, you think about it. Like, if you're sitting all day, right, and you're not really moving a lot, or you don't have it, you're not active, most of the week, and then you start doing these things, you're stretching, but maybe the stretching routine is just kind of a blanket thing, whatever. You could really be setting yourself up for injury. I mean, let's face it. So it's just something to think about. That's
I
all.
think that's one of the things that, again, right? This idea you have to be sore, but when you are getting older, especially,
Mm-hmm.
it's I've always been the kind of person who, if I have 9:05 tea time, I'm rolling in at like 9:55. I'm rolling in, I'm grabbing my bag, I'm getting some stuff out of my
Mm-hmm.
trunk, I'm getting my stuff over to the cart, and we're loading up, and we're gonna go over to the first tee, and we're gonna hit. And I'll take two warm-up swings, tee up, and boom, I hit.
Mm-hmm. Plus, you do like you said, you do the both sides, because we talked
Well,
about that. I think you did it. We're doing it anyway. Didn't you?
That's so I used to just show up and play. And now, I mean, again, in getting older, you and I were talking about it, and you talked, and that's what I do now. I get there, and I get there a little bit earlier, and I take a bunch of swings left, take a bunch of swings right, because you really should do both sides.
Mm-hmm.
You really got to do that. Again, that's something that never even occurred to me. I do it in baseball, but only because I can hit left-handed. So I actually like swinging the bat that way. It kind of feels like it loosens me up. And I've always not for like the right reason, but it just occurred to me, again, I would take swings right-handed, then immediately turn around. It almost like it was symmetrical.
It is.
If I'm doing one side, I kind of had to do the other side.
Well, and you had just got through saying too that you feel like it loosened you up. So it would make sense, right? Because you're doing the both sides.
Yeah.
So it would loosen you up.
I never thought about it. It's just like, again, I would, 10 good swings right-handed, and then just turn around, boom. And then 10 good swings left-handed. And again, I would do it because, right? I mean, it feels like it's making my body stretch, but I never thought about it in terms of like, I should stretch and it should be equal on both sides. But I'm glad I was doing that. Yeah, that's probably one of the better things I've been doing when it comes to, again, with golf. I would never think to swing the club from the left side.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, right, again, and you've seen me do it. Now that's exactly, I actually start swinging it left-handed, and then I go to the right side.
I definitely think that even in sports, like, I mean, obviously when you're playing the game, like if you're a competition or you're like doing it for money and stuff like that, then you're going to do your dominant hand. But I still feel like you should be training the both sides, because you don't want to end up with a discrepancy. And like, that's part of your integration. Like, that was part of your integration, remember? Because right when we were on the field, well, even here, when you were here in your house too, I'm like, Joe, you got something you can swing really quick? Remember, like, after we went all those activities?
Yep.
So I would even recommend that. I'm like, okay, we do this, boom, 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 boom. Okay, pick up your bat and let me know if you notice a difference. Okay, act like you're going to pitch, because, maybe it's a pitching, whatever. So that's what you got to do. You got to integrate it in. You want to integrate it into your life. You want to make it reflexive for you, so you're not thinking about it, or you're like, oh crap, let me oh, I don't want to hurt myself or whatever. And then this stuff transitions into your life. Because if you're doing this with the baseball or just like if you even go down to even pick something up off the ground, like you want to protect yourself. Like we talked about the sneeze and the
Oh my
cough.
God,
Like
yeah.
it's the same stuff. You want to, I don't want to, make anybody crazy about this stuff. But if you can make whatever it is you're doing a little better and make things a little bit more smoother for you, why would you not at least try to do it, or at least, find out about it?
Yeah.
I would.
I highly encourage that. So revoltmove.com is her website. They can also email you.
Yes, definitely email me would be great too. And they could just mention or whatever. I mean, you can even go on the website and fill out the form. The email is just Karin@revoltandmove.com. And yeah, just tell me who you are. And if you're definitely a wiffle ball person, just say you are.
If you are a wiffle ball person, again, you already know what's going on here. And if you don't personally, you didn't get up close and see it, ask around, ask Jesse, ask Matt, ask some of those guys. They'll tell you. I mean, you're fantastic at what you do. And we're lucky to have you, and we really do appreciate it. We got to talk about breathing for a minute and it's funny, and I wonder how many other people can relate to this. And this has come up in a few different episodes, but again, early on, we were talking about the grips and the different things. One of the things that we talked about, and I've worked on and off with trainers for like my entire life. And one of the repeated phrases, Karin, I've heard many times over the year while I'm working out is
just breathe.
Breathe.
Why are you holding your breath?
Yeah.
Like people do that.
I do it all the time.
They in martial arts too.
When
I'm
setting personal records, man, it's like, breathe, dude, breathe. And I'm like, one of the things that I kind of figured out one episode talking to Karin, literally just kind of happened in real time, was towards the end of playing 18 holes, maybe the last 4 or 5 holes, my back starts to get kind of sore, and it really affects my swing. And what I end up doing is sort of tightening up, but also while I'm swinging, I'm not breathing. And as we were talking about it, and as I was thinking about it, I brace myself because I expect there might be anywhere from moderate discomfort to a shooting pain in my back when I hit that ball. And so to brace myself for that, what I'm doing is I'm holding my breath through the swing, and literally only figured that out as we were talking about it. And then suddenly, like a Kaiser Soze Usual Suspects moment, I was like, oh my God, every time I'm working out and it's like seriously something heavy, there's always someone who goes, Joe, breathe, man. I wonder how many other people have this same situation, because obviously the breathing is so important to getting things done.
It's very important. And basically it was a factor in your rotational pattern, because we were talking it's not really doing the rotation, obviously, because it's an intrinsic stuff. But one of the muscles that you had that was kind of thrown off was the internal abdominal oblique. And that does have intrinsic core capability, like it does, but it also has this force, like power, because it works with the opposite side external abdominal oblique in the rotation. So if you're thrown off from that intrinsic perspective, it's going to start bleeding into all these other power systems, but you have to have that stuff first. Like it's almost like, I always like kind of look at it like comparable to a runner with the baton, right? The fourth runner is not going to just get the baton, right? It has to get passed to them, right? The second person, the third person, the fourth person, like there's like an order of priority. So it's the same type of thing with the body. So it's just really hacking into that. And we were hacking into you. We hacked into you a lot on a couple of other things.
Oh
like,
my God.
I remember just like that one day, like, and it not really having any kind of a bias either. Like You know, when I was pushing you around, right, doing the perturbation, like I was shocked when I pushed you here. I'm like, oh,
That's
shit.
right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you got any like swallowing or jaw problems? And you're like, oh yeah, matter of fact, I do. Remember? So it was like just like little things like that. It's just I just think it's cool. I like the body. I think the body definitely will tell you. And a lot of times we try to dissociate from things. But I still think there's stuff you can do.
One of the things about this movement boss here, Karin Ravalese, is this is not an expensive process. And I have a lot of friends who have been going to chiropractors and therapists for years. And, you know, they've inquired to me about you. And that's been one of their big concerns. Like, I'm already paying this guy a couple $100 a month. And I'm like, Karin isn't looking for that kind of thing. Karin wants to help you figure out what you can do. Like we've said before, you'll get some video and some printout material so you can help yourself. Because in many of these situations, you can put yourself in a better position either to prevent or to deal with in a way that makes things less painful, or again, just the idea of avoiding pain and not having to play through pain, and you know, being able to stretch things in a manner that allows you to enjoy, because that's the other big thing, right? I mean, I'm 50. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to have a week in the summertime, Karin, where I'm like, I can't really do anything because a body part hurts from wiffle ball. Like, I'm an adult. I can't really, I don't have an injured list that I can go on and be out for 10 days. I have to go to work every day. I can't have some kind of catastrophic injury playing a recreational game, because my family would be my wife would kill me.
Well, and you know, too, and like the thing, like you're talking about, like chiropractor and, you know, maybe massage and stuff, like that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that there is, you know, I think there's nothing wrong with doing that. Why can't you have both? Like that would make things last longer. Like, you know, and I'm totally open to collaborating with other people. So, I mean,
my big cautionary tale, my buddy Jimmy G, we were on a softball team in North Brantford, and Jimmy would just show up with his brother, a couple of beers in him, smoke a joint, and then this kid would hit a ball a mile. And again, without any kind of stretching or warm-up, this kid was such an amazing athlete. And this one game, it's a little bit colder, North Brantford, it's October. He hits one towards right center field all the way to the fence, and it's an easy triple for Jimmy. And as Jimmy approaches third base, he pulls up because he done blown out his Achilles. You know, he's a professional tradesman, and he cannot afford to not be working for however long it takes to rehab that. You know, like that was and that has always stuck with me, because I do play a lot of recreational sports. I enjoy it, but again, I need to put myself in a position where that can never happen. That can never. I need to do everything I can to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean,
we all do.
That's the idea. That's what you want, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but things, you know, can always happen. But that's
100%. But again,
I don't want that to happen to me.
Listen,
either, so I'm working on stuff too.
If my buddy Jimmy, if Jimmy would have shown up to those games and stretched for 5 minutes before every one of those games, I'll bet you that never would have happened.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, that's the thing too, because like I even remember myself too. Like sometimes it's like, oh, you just want to get to the workout. You know,
Jimmy's not on social media, by the way, so he'll never see this.
But thank God, because you're telling his business.
I am spilling the beans on Jimmy G. Yeah.
You didn't say his last name, though.
That's why I'm not saying it, although I did mention he has a brother. I won't say his brother's initial name. they're good friends of mine. I
Yeah,
think
I
they would
know.
get a
You're
kill.
not
But
saying
again, I
anything
mean,
wrong. You're,
that's,
you're
I mean, but
just whatever.
that's literally one of those things from the day
Mhm.
that happened. And I think that was the second or third year. So maybe 2010.
I feel like I remember you telling me about
That's
this.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
always stood out. And again, because Jimmy's such a great athlete. And it's
It's
like
too bad.
Jimmy
It
could show
sucks.
up and hit a couple of homers and run around the bases and play left field and catch
Mm.
anything in the air. And again, he's, he needs to be working. He needs to be at work on Monday morning. And so,
Mhm.
an injury in softball is not cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, that always sticks out to me. And now I'm thinking, and this is why, meeting you and like,
Mhm.
there's things I could be doing to at least prep my body for this.
Oh,
I'm not
definitely.
showing up cold anymore for things,
Mhm.
because the day's gonna end. And even if I've survived
Mhm.
the 4-hour golf tournament or the 3 hours of wiffle ball,
Mhm.
at the end of it, how am I gonna feel?
Yeah. Well, that's
And I don't want to feel like garbage. I can't do that either anymore.
no. I totally understand. I totally understand. I mean, I hack into my own self with stuff, and like I said, I'll talk to somebody about it with me with my own stuff. I go, check too, making sure.
By the way, if you are a professional, in the medical field, or really in any sort of different business, this is definitely somebody you want to talk to. The movement boss, my friend Karin Ravalese. He's an amazing networker, but is always down to collaborate and do some work with people. So again, revoltmove.com is the website. You can check her out there, message her. And again, if you're looking to get a session, you could book it. There's an intake form. You fill it out, let her look it over. And
Mhm.
again, she's so amazingly astute with this stuff. She's taught me a lot of it. I'm actually understanding a lot of it. And I mean, it is absolutely fascinating, and I feel like every time you and I talk, I learn more, and I know more about it. And, it is, I can't stress to people enough. If you want to be healthy, and again, I mean, if you're younger, do it now.
Mhm.
Get ahead of it now. Make sure that you're maximizing your body so that you don't have issues when you're older. And if you are older, it's never too late, especially again, my whole thing is I like to enjoy these recreational sports. I don't want to feel like all beat up from it. It takes away the joy to the point where, we've talked about the baseball player Kobe Rasmus, a
Mm.
guy who made a lot of money, never quite had the big time success he wanted, but the pain and the idea of another rehab just killed his spirit, and he retired.
Mhm.
And I mean, right? I every year in wiffle ball, I think this is probably going to be the last year that I'm playing, because
Really?
once, yeah, honestly, Karen, I mean, once I'm not good at it anymore, once the age really starts
Mm.
catching up to me, once the back, I mean,
Mm.
there comes a point where it's like, I don't think I can do this anymore. And I won't enjoy it if I'm not doing it well.
Yeah,
And
I
so
understand.
it's
Mhm.
important, I think, now more than ever, really, to keep working at being healthy and putting myself in a
Mhm.
position where I can go out there and bust my ass and not get hurt, but still get all the joy of putting in
Mm.
all the effort before it starts to be
Mm.
too much. Because, this is, again, I hate to compare myself to Major League Baseball players,
Why not?
but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for
Mhm.
you, and I'm going to do it for your dad, Joe. And
Okay.
and I'm going to do it for there's a picture of him just off camera. It's the Yankee Clipper, Joe DiMaggio.
Oh.
Joe DiMaggio retired at the age of 37.
What?
One of the great players of all time. He also missed 3 years of his career to go fight in World War II.
Okay.
Now, if you think about Joe DiMaggio's career over a normal
Mm.
18 to 20-year career, you'd be talking about a guy approaching 600-700 home runs
Mm.
and setting all kinds of records. Why did Joe DiMaggio retire at the age of 37? Well, number one, he married Marilyn Monroe and he wanted to go home to that at night. I'm kidding. The reason he retired was he was the classiest baseball player in history. Joe DiMaggio retired at 37 because he knew he had peaked.
Mm-hmm.
And age 36 into 37 wasn't the best year of his career, and he felt like it was going to start to be, I don't know if you know this, Babe Ruth bounced around the last couple of years in baseball. He ended up playing for the Boston Braves, and he hit like a $190 in his last season, and he got released. He got cut. They were like, no, thanks, Babe Ruth. You're no good anymore.
No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's how Babe Ruth went out. And many a legend has their career sort of teetered out to the point where it's like he's still trying to play, and it's like, dude, it's over. Hang him up. Joe DiMaggio never wanted anybody to see him not in peak performance, and that is the reason he retired at 37.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I don't mean to suggest that I'm worried about my fans not seeing me in my peak, but my point is, if I can't play wiffle ball and do all the crazy diving and great stuff that I do there, I won't want to play anymore. When I know I can't make a diving catch and somersault and get back up, I'm done. I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to just go there, and pull up and watch that ball. That won't be fun for me anymore. And I'll have thought I should have stopped playing last year, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want you to do that either. I don't want you to do that. So let's you and I behind the scenes do some stuff, and let's see how it goes. You down for that?
We're going to play another 10 years.
We got time.
Yeah, we do. And we're going to do it.
Time, so
I feel like we covered a lot. Is there anything else that we're missing?
I don't think so.
I think you wanted to tell me a thing about your sister. I don't know if that was on the podcast or for after.
Oh, actually, yeah. Well,
it is a podcast thing.
We could put it on the podcast, but what I want to do is,
I just kicked you.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. I want to have her come back on here again.
Oh my God. Cheryl's awesome.
She wrote a book. I tell you? Yeah, she actually wrote a book, and she's doing an event at the town and county on February 12th. And I'd like to have her come on here and talk about it. And I don't know if she might be like, I don't want to do, who knows, but I'd like her to come on here. I'm very proud of her. And, it's a nice book because she wrote about her experience. There's stuff about our family in there, which is really nice. So it makes you laugh. It makes you cry. There's some recipes in there. And then, just how to recognize, different things like, somebody's has an eating disorder or emotional eating, and, just some different strategies on, what to do if you're struggling and stuff like that. So, it's great. It really is. So I want to talk about that.
Congratulations to Cheryl. That is so cool. She was great when she came on the episode she was on. I don't know why she wouldn't want to come on, especially to, brag about writing a book. I mean, I think it would be great to talk about. I love talking to authors. I think that's such an amazing thing to be able to write a book is wow.
It's great. It really is. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not just saying this, because she's my sister and stuff, but I
mean, even if you were,
I mean, yeah, but I just wouldn't say nothing.
No.
You know what I mean? But I don't know.
Hey, Karin, did your sister write a book? I don't know.
No, I love my family. So, but she's hey.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for us. Big first episode back. I think the lesson here is don't tell anybody about your resolutions. I think that's and focus. Yeah, those are the also make sure you breathe.
Don't forget about that.
All right, well, again, we've got so much in store for you all throughout 2026. We'll be getting Karin Ravalese on to talk about her book. We'll have some other really great guests, and thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for coming back. RevoltandMove.com. That is the website. Again, make sure you go look at that intake form. You can fill it out, pop it over, and let Karin give you a little assessment and kind of help you figure out what's going on and work towards making you a healthier version of you and one who's a little more self-reliant. You don't need somebody else out there. You just need the movement, boss. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us, for Karin Ravalese, the movement boss. I'm Joe Aguiar. Thank you so much for watching.
Have a good night, everyone.